Hey, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this one, we're going to be doing a combination build, a power stance build with Morgott's Cursed Sword and Bloodhound's Fang. This is a really powerful build when combined together. Let's get into the details. Both of these separately are quite good, but when combined together, they're even better. They power stance very, very well in combination, and you can make use of both powerful weapon arts and use them to the best of your ability. You're going to get a lot of damage out of them. With the 150 stats we came up with in this video, you're able to really not sacrifice much for either one. You can take advantage of both weapon arts and you can do a lot of damage. I know a lot of people already power stance these, and I've had a couple commenters asking me how well they go together, and that was when I got the idea for a video to utilize them together. I have videos for these separately, but I never came up with stats that universally use both in combination. Another interesting thing about this video was every single boss that's in this video literally took one try. Now granted, Radahn in his second phase, and this is New Game Plus 7 by the way, does come close to killing me, but each individual boss only took one try, and that's a testament to how powerful these are when combined together. Now as far as each weapon individually, they both have bleed on them. Now Morgott's Cursed Sword will scale with Arcane. Bloodhound's Fang just has innate bleed on it, but we are using Bloodflame Blade to add a little bit more bleed to that weapon itself and take advantage of the fact that you can use Bloodflame Blade and greases with it. That'll ultimately add some more damage in general, and it will allow us to also get a little bit of fire damage. Now that fire damage is going to scale with Faith. As far as the bleed itself though, when you're using Bloodflame Blade, it's a flat amount, but it does increase obviously as far as Bloodhound's Fang itself to around 100 bleed in total, which is a fairly decent amount given the fact that we have a good amount of AR as well. I like using these two for aesthetics also, and for fun in general too. So if you're looking for something that's really fun, it's definitely going to meet the standards there, given the fact that Bloodhound's Fang has one of the more fun ashes in the game, and then Morgott's Cursed Sword has one of the most aesthetically pleasing and fun ashes of war in the game, and they're both quite powerful as well. The purpose of this video though, we're going to concentrate mainly on doing jump attacks and using Bloodhound's Fang weapon art, because that's going to be our main hand weapon, simply for the fact that it allows us to dodge some attacks too. If you want to main hand Morgott's Cursed Sword, you can do that as well. For me personally, I like Bloodhound's Fang in my right hand and Morgott's Cursed Sword in my left hand. And after we take Radahn here, we're going to go over some more bosses, some mobs and whatnot, and then we're going to go over build stats, everything you need to know to utilize this powerful combination power stance build with Morgott's Cursed Sword and Bloodhound's Fang. We're going to take on this dragon here. We're going to utilize jump attacks for the majority of the fight here, as well as utilizing Bloodhound's Fang weapon art. Like I said, that's going to be my main hand weapon, and that's what I prefer for most people as well, because it allows you to dodge too, and Morgott's Cursed Sword could be a little bit more dangerous to use, even though right now they're both very much in the A tier, and they're both very, very powerful weapon arts. And another thing I want to mention too is, as far as the weapons themselves goes, you're going to see me miss a couple times in this video, but that's just me missing on jump attacks. They do have a decent amount of range as far as curved greatswords go. Now they don't have an incredible amount of range or anything, but it's in the medium range, and you can hit things fairly easily with the jump attacks. They're not too bad to land. Given the fact that we're using two heavier weapons for this build, for Bloodhound's Fang and Morgott's Cursed Sword, you're not going to get a ridiculous amount of bleed build up. Each individual fight that you go through, you're probably going to get one or two procs, and we are going to use Lord of Bloods obviously, but as far as the weapons themselves goes, because they're on the heavier side, we're going for more pure damage with bleed as a bonus. As you can see here, with utilizing both great curved swords, we're able to get a substantial amount of damage on the jump attacks, and then we're able to finish off the dragon with a hit right on his head with both curved swords. These combine, as I mentioned earlier, very, very well together, getting a lot of damage out of our jump attacks, boosting it with the Raptor's Black Feathers and the Claw Talisman. Alright, next up is the Magma Worm. Let's see what he has for us. Now, he's going to be decently slash resistant. Most dragons, by the way, are slash resistant, but again, it's just a testament to how powerful the build is, given the fact that we're still able to get a decent amount of damage out of it, being able to proc bleed once or twice, and utilizing both swords. Now, also in this fight, you're going to see something. We do get a posture break later in this fight, and the posture damage on these isn't too bad. Now, granted, posture damage as a whole, we all know it's been nerfed across the board, but we're still able to get a decent amount of posture damage when utilizing jump attacks for a lot of the heavier weapons in the game and take advantage of those poise breaks and critical damage. For some reason, when I critically break the Magma Worm, I always end up, when he posture breaks and I'm able to go in for the critical hit, it seems to always be in a pool of lava. Maybe that's just me, but even so, it was impressive being able to get the posture break on such a big enemy, and that's something that you can do if you apply pressure with power stancing these. You're going to build up posture as you go throughout the fight, and you're going to build up a good amount of damage and a little bit of bleed too. It really does combine together for something that you can utilize on the majority of bosses in the game. By the way, important fact if you didn't know, because I don't think I've mentioned this in any of my videos, but you have, I think it's 6 or 7 seconds, somewhere in the realm of that, before their posture resets entirely. So if you want to get the posture breaks, you have to have pressure consistently in order to get those posture breaks. Keep that in mind. If you're somebody that's backing up a lot, healing, taking your time, and then you're wondering why you're not getting a posture break, it's simply because you let the boss reset and now they're back at their full posture that they were at the start of the fight. Which is why sometimes with these tree avatars, if you're not using something with fire and you're not up close doing immense damage or a ridiculous amount of damage, you're going to end up having a little trouble as far as the rot ones go, posture breaking, because they end up doing that rot spam, and then obviously golden slam in combination, you have to step back and then you end up doing less posture buildup. Now that isn't the case for all of the bosses in Elden Ring, but keep that in mind. If you're doing jump attacks to break poise, continue to do the jump attacks, try to get in as many as possible, and if you heal, go right back at the boss and attack them again as quickly as you can. Well, at the end of the clip, by the way, we switched to two-handing Morgott's Curse Sword, and then we used Cursed Blood Slice. It does fire damage, so it will do more damage to tree avatars, and in general, it's just a really fun weapon art to utilize. Let's get into some mobs here. For mobs, as long as you're doing the jump attacks and you're consistently just jumping on the majority of enemies, you're going to do a lot of damage. These have relatively good AR with the stats and setup we have, so the jump attacks and even the weapon arts can absolutely destroy the majority of enemies, regular enemies, in Elden Ring. Realistically, we're utilizing two of the better weapons in the game, so there's not going to be a lot of concern for regular enemies in the game anyway. It's not something where you're going to feel like, oh, I'm really threatened. I have Morgott's Cursed Sword and Bloodhound's Fang. Combining them together makes them even more powerful after all, so any individual enemies that are in the game or you're going to come across, the majority of mobs you're going to run across, you're going to end up absolutely destroying with this setup. I'm confident you're not going to have a lot of issues when you're running this setup. I really am. As far as this setup goes, I know a lot of people already use it, and then the stats and everything we came up with to get a lot of damage out of both weapons, and you can see me using Morgott's Curse Sword here just for regular swings. Pretty substantial. New Game Plus 7 gate front. They do have a little bit more HP. They're not the hardest enemies in the game after all, but they are a little bit tankier. Now we're going to get into buffs for this build, and buffs, as far as buffs go, we're using the Faith tier, so that's the first thing that we're going to want to do. We're going to drink that Faith tier first, and then we're going to end up using Golden Vow, and then if you want to fill up your FP at this point or after Flame Grant Me Strength, that's up to you. Then we can use Flame Grant Me Strength for additional damage, then Bloodflame Blade, and then we get to use that awesome combination of Bloodhound's Fang and Morgott's Curse Sword, take advantage of the substantial damage we can get between these two awesome weapons. Now, after showing both weapon arts off here, we're going to get into equipment for this one, and for equipment we have Bloodhound's Fang plus 10 preferably, Morgott's Curse Sword plus 10 also preferably. Any seal will do. We have the Raptor's Black Feathers on, the White Mask will increase your damage too, Shard of Alexander, Claw Talisman, Dragoncrest Great Shield Talisman, we have Lord of Blood's Exultation, and then we have the Faith tier, and then we have the Fire tier as well to increase Morgott's Cursed Sword, Blood Slice even further. Let's get into stats. For this setup, we do have 3 stats. Now, 150, that makes it a little bit tricky, but for me, I found the best setup possible as far as damage and whatnot goes while keeping 50 vigor, enough vigor. We went for 30 strength, 45 dexterity, and 30 arcane, and ended up combining for a very powerful build and setup. There it is, a powerful combination build that combines Morgott's Cursed Sword and Bloodhound's Fang, something you can use that you can have a lot of fun with too, using these two awesome great curved swords that have really good and strong Ashes of War, unique Ashes of War in Elden Ring. Not on the Discord, definitely be sure to join the Discord. We have over 400 people. I think we're working our way towards 500 people now. That's been really incredible. It's a lot of fun being a part of that community. Having that community has been awesome. If you're not subbed and you love overpowered PvE builds, be sure to check out all the awesome builds that are on my channel. Thanks for watching. As always, I will catch you guys there.